Bird Island and Piggy Island are now thriving together in harmony, years after their once bitter rivalry. Red enjoys his peaceful days, though he secretly misses the excitement of past adventures. Chuck, Bomb, Silver, and even Leonard now work on collaborative island projects, but strange things begin to happen. Giant waves crash against the shores, followed by unexpected snowstorms during summer. The skies are filled with flickering lights, and the animals begin sensing an eerie energy. The peaceful islands suddenly feel watched. Silver starts noticing anomalies in her weather tracking instruments. The magnetic field seems to be fluctuating wildly, and unknown signals are interfering with island communications. Red brushes. It offers a freak occurrence, but Silver insists that something unnatural is happening. Chuck and Bomb investigate and find several glowing metallic shards along the beach. One of the shards hums with energy when touched, sending a mild shock through Bomb. The pieces seem like they're part of something much larger and dangerous. Leonard invites Red, Silver, and the gang to Piggy Island, where similar objects were discovered buried near ancient ruins. These fragments appear to be technologically advanced, glowing with an otherworldly blue light. A group of hatchlings accidentally assembles some of the pieces like a puzzle, and it powers on, projecting a hologram. The hologram shows images of an ancient mechanical bird species. The team realizes that they may have uncovered remnants of a forgotten civilization, the Mecha-Birds. Silver leads an expedition to a rumored island far beyond their known territory, where legends speak of a sky machine that fell into the sea. The group, using a submarine made by pig engineers and bird inventors, dives deep beneath the ocean. There, they discover a massive mechanical dome half buried in the sea floor. They break through the rusted outer layer and enter, uncovering chambers filled with cryotanks, blueprints, and robotic bird statues. Accidentally, they trigger a system reboot. The mechanical dome suddenly lights up, and one of the cryo chambers opens, revealing a massive robotic bird Vortex, a war machine of the Mecha-Bird order. Vortex powers on slowly, scanning the group before escaping through the water vents. Silver tries to disable the activation sequence, but it's too late. Outside, a swarm of weather drones rises from beneath the sea, soaring into the skies and forming clouds that darken the sun. The world above begins to change. Back on the islands, the birds and pigs watch in shock as the skies turn blood orange and storms erupt with unnatural force. The oceans surge, lightning strikes randomly, and strong winds flatten forests. Red calls an emergency assembly, realizing that Vortex is not just another enemy, he's a remnant of a civilization that wanted to dominate nature itself. Silver explains that the Mecha-Birds once tried to perfect the planet through artificial ecosystems. Now, Vortex is finishing what they started. Red feels responsible for awakening the threat, and his confidence begins to crack. Silver urges action, proposing they build an energy disruptor to counter Vortex's tech. Leonard offers his army, and together, the birds and pigs form a joint resistance. Bomb and Chuck volunteer for a mission to steal one of the weather drones. For analysis, their journey leads them to the skies, where they engage in an air chase filled with stunts, explosions, and near-death escapes. After narrowly escaping a crash, Chuck and Bomb return with a damaged drone core. Silver and her team study it and discover that each drone is networked to a floating central base, likely controlled by Vortex himself. This base is cloaked and hovering above the storm clouds, moving constantly. Red proposes an infiltration mission, but they need flight tech capable of breaking through the storm barrier. The pigs present a prototype, the Winged Slinger, a high-altitude glider powered by solar bursts. As the group trains for their mission, Vortex appears via projection, addressing all of Bird and Piggy Island. He declares that organic life is flawed and that his mission is to restore balance through cold, calculated precision. He gives them 72 hours before he floods the islands permanently, creating a mechanical paradise. Panic spreads among the islanders. Red, realizing time is short, calls for one final briefing before launching their bold aerial assault. The Team Red, Silver, Chuck, Bomb, Leonard, and Matilda launch into the skies on modified gliders, heading straight into the heart of the storm. The turbulence nearly rips them apart, but they press on. Above the clouds, they find the floating base, a sleek fortress of spinning gears and glowing cores. Landing is dangerous, and a few gliders are shot down. Inside, they face drones that adapt to their attack styles, forcing the birds and pigs to think creatively. Silver hacks into the fortress systems and locates the central AI hub. Vortex, now fused with the station, appears in a partially organic mechanical form, more powerful than ever. He summons elite Guardian drones, shaped like mythical metal phoenixes. Red and Vortex engage in a fierce battle of ideology. Vortex sees nature as chaos, Red sees it as beauty. Meanwhile, Chuck races to plant explosives in the energy core chambers, while Leonard holds off the Phoenix drones. Bomb finds himself locked in a containment chamber with a decaying energy reactor. He realizes that the only way to destabilize the fortress is to blow the chamber from within. He volunteers to stay behind and detonate it manually while the others escape. Chuck refuses at first, but Bomb knocks him out and sends him through an escape chute. Moments later, the base begins to implode. Red, Silver, and the others narrowly escape on emergency gliders. The explosion lights up the skies as the fortress crashes into the ocean, sending a massive wave outward. The clouds vanish, the winds die down, and the weather drones collapse mid-air. On the islands, the skies begin to clear for the first time in weeks. Everyone celebrates, but their joy is cut with grief. Bomb is presumed lost in the explosion. A memorial is held, and Red gives an emotional speech, finally learning to let others help lead. Days later, strange signals are detected coming from a nearby island. A group of hatchlings on a beach trip stumbles upon a half-burnt escape pod. Inside lies Bomb alive, but unconscious. He's rushed back and celebrated as a hero. Red, overwhelmed with relief, finally hugs him without any tough guy pretense. The team is reunited once more, and Leonard even proposes forming a permanent Bird-Pig Alliance Council for future planetary defense. Silver begins preserving the Mecha-Bird tech in a secured lab to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands again. She also finds a data core that contains memories of Vortex's creator, a brilliant but lonely inventor who wanted to save the planet from destruction. The story softens the perception of the Mecha-Birds, showing that their original mission was peace, corrupted over time by fear and control. Silver wonders if parts of Vortex still remain out there. The birds and pigs decide to turn their old battleground into a new eco-research center where both species can learn to coexist with nature and technology. Red is offered the title of Grand Protector, but he declines, suggesting Silver lead instead. Chuck and Bomb start a flying school for hatchlings, while Leonard begins investing in sustainable pig tech. A sense of hope and balance returns to the islands. One evening, the northern sky glows again, but this time, it's different. A soft aurora shimmers, and strange signals pulse from the ocean depths. Silver receives a cryptic message encoded in Mecha-Bird language. You have passed the test. Phase 1. Complete. Everyone is stunned. Was Vortex only the beginning of something larger? Was this all part of a trial imposed by an ancient force? Matilda suggests that maybe not all Mecha-Birds were evil, that some might still be watching, waiting for the next evolution. Silver begins decoding the message with the help of new AI algorithms. Red decides to prepare a new Team 1 that blends innovation, courage, speed, and strength. The islanders begin building a watchtower, not for war, but for knowledge. They want to be ready this time. The final scenes show various characters finding peace in their own way, hatchlings playing in the forest, pigs and birds farming together, and Red quietly painting the rising sun. But as he looks at the horizon, he mutters, "I don't think this is over." Silver appears beside him with decoded symbols that speak of the architect, a supreme builder of Mecha-Worlds whose signal has just returned. In a post-credit scene, deep beneath the ocean, a hand made of mechanical feathers slowly claws its way out of rubble. Vortex, battered but alive, opens his eyes now glowing red. He walks into a cave filled with massive machines long dormant and speaks softly. They've only seen the beginning. A new saga is about to rise, one not just about birds or pigs, but the balance of nature and machine itself.